Welcome back, APCSA students. We are going to continue with arrays. So we did the basics or the mechanics in the first video, and in this video we're going to talk about traversing the array. So remember, the array is holding multiple elements, and so to traverse means to travel or to visit each of the elements in the array. And so the best way to do that is a for loop. A for loop is made, they're like best buddies. They're made for each other, match made in heaven. So here is an example of a for loop. This is the common way that a lot of programmers write the for loop. So you'll notice that I is the letter of choice for index. And so I is going to start at 0. And so the whole job of I is to keep us in bounds of the array. So we're going to increment I by 1, and as long as I stays less than the length, because remember this array right here, the length is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but the elements are numbered, the indices are 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So as long as I is less than the length of the array, we can go ahead and print each element. So the output from this for loop will be each element printed with a space after it. One thing to keep in mind is that it is majorly preferred that you put the array name dot length here and not a 5. So yes, I want I to be less than 5, and I know that num's length is 5, but we don't want to hard code the 5, and there's various reasons for that, but it's better to use the variable, because if later I change this array size, this loop will already, like if I add elements to this initializer list, this loop will automatically accommodate. I won't have to come and find the 5 and change it to a 6 or 7 for increasing the array. So use nums.length in your for loop. Here's a walkthrough, a slower walkthrough of that for loop. Here we have I pointing to index 0. Here's the elements in the array, and this is the nums array. So we start at I is 0, and we get the nums element at box 0, and we print it out, and then we print out the space. And then in our for loop, we know we come back up here and we do the I++. I is 1, 1 is less than the length, which for this is 5. And so we will print nums box 1, which is a value of 3 with the space. And so continuing in that fashion, we're going to get each element out of the array one at a time. And when we increment I to 5, 5 will not be less than the length. So we bump out of our loop. So this is the general for loop for traversing array. No matter what we want to do with the array, this is often the for loop header for visiting every element in the array. And usually things that we want to do with the array require us to visit all the elements, or at least the elements in some order of the array. So this is a good thing to just kind of keep practicing handwriting on your own, and I've given you quite a bit of practice on your own. So here you can see that same for loop here inside a method though, and you'll notice that the method receives an integer array here. So just to get used to seeing an array passed to a method, you'll notice that instead of just saying int num, it says int array nums. So somebody else is going to pass an array to this method. It will go through and show all the elements. When the method's done, it just returns to where the call is. So again, if we wanted to find the sum of the array elements, we're going to see a very similar loop. So up here is that show method, and here is a method that will sum or total, add up all the elements in this nums array. And you'll notice that the for loop is the same. I starts at 0, I less than the length of the array, I plus plus. And when we want to get things out of the array, we're using nums bracket I bracket. In this one, we are starting another variable called total at 0, and we are adding each element onto this total to get the sum of the elements. Whereas up here, we got the element out and we just displayed it. But again, the for loop is the same, and how we get the elements or change the elements, but how we get the elements is also identical. There was something else. And so this is yet another example of why we don't want to hard code, right? So this this method will work for any size integer array. So I can make any integer array, call this method, pass the integer array, and it's going to add up everything in the array and return it. And so the length of the array that's passed may be different each time it's called. So another reason to keep that nums.length more general, right, than more abstract than being a specific number. So here's the walkthrough of finding the total. So over here, total was initialized to 0, and just getting a feel. We've had a for loop where we've been adding things up, and it's the same. It's just now where we're getting the things we're adding from. We've actually done something very similar to this with files, and you may have done it with your Google Lab where you were reading from the file and adding to something. So now we're going to have some data stored in an array that we're going to add up. So here total is 0, I is 0, we get that 5 out of nums box 0, and we add it to the 0 that was in total, and so total is now 5. We go up, we change I to 1. 1 is less than the length of this array, so we get the thing in box 1, which is the 3 up here. So we do 3 plus what used to be in total, which was 5, we get 8, and we store that back in total, and then we're going to come up here and change I plus plus to, or change I to be a 2. We'll get the 7 out of the array and add that to the 8 that was there before. We'll do that again with the 0, and so the total doesn't really change. Then we get the 9 and add it, and then I plus plus is 5, and that's not less than the length. So we end and we return the total. So for this array, that total would be 24. These in your notes on page 2, these are additional methods you can fill in your notes. We're going to practice writing a lot of these methods, so it's a good idea to just get used to writing them down. So again, we're going to see that same for loop header, and here we're getting this element out of the array for different reasons. So this one up here, when the method's called, it passes the array value here, or the array here, an integer array, but it also passes some other target integer that it's looking for in the array. Excuse me. And if, as it's traversing the array, if it finds the element in the array, this target in the array, it returns true. Otherwise, it keeps going and looking and looking and looking, and if I gets to the end of the array and we bump out of the for loop, then we will return false. So remember, this method can only return one of these statements. So if it hits return true, it leaves and it stops in the middle of that loop. So in that previous example, if the target was 3 and I passed this array, it would go through and look at the 5 and see that that wasn't it. So it would come back up here, change I, then it would look at the 3 and it would see that 3 is equal to 3 and it would return true. So this return false, it's very important that this is outside of the loop. This is one statement. If this is true, return true. This is one statement inside the for loop. This return false is not in the for loop. This is it's one of the first mistakes students make all the time, is they'll put an else return true in here. Don't do that. Make yourself a note in your notes now that it's important that this line be outside of the for loop. Okay. For this one, it looks like it's prompting a user to enter numbers as long as it has array elements that need to be filled. So it just keeps prompting the user to enter numbers, and it reads in the numbers and stores them in the array. So the nice thing is that when you are passed an array in a method, you're actually changing the method, the array that you were passed. So we don't need to return this array to get these values. These values are going to be stored in the original array that was passed. So I'm not sure I can show you that, but I do have the other two methods that we walked through before, the printing and the total here. And I do want to show you in JGrass. So here's array traversal. This is the notes on page 2. So that's going to call the array traversal method. So we'll skip this method altogether and we'll come right here. And so I've created that 53709 array, and then here's that show method, and it's going to pass the nums array. So notice when we pass an array to a method, it almost looks like a variable. So unless you go up and look at where it's declared, you wouldn't necessarily recognize this as an array, even though you could look here and see that it is receiving an array. Here's the show method. So I think I want to go, why don't we go here and get a feel for the loop. So let's run. So this method has already executed here, and then here it called the sum method with 53709. So here I am in sum. So it's past the nums array, so that's right here. There's the 53709. We can see that total is initialized to 0. And if I step down one, we can now see that I is 0. So remember, the highlighted line is the one that's about to execute. So I'm about to see this total change because I'm going to get that 5 out of box 0. So this is nice to kind of see the values of total change. So I'm just hitting that down arrow. And so we see that 24. We see that 24 get returned back to where the method was called and stored in a variable called total right here. And then if we print out the total, we see that there. So not sure I can do this in the time. Unfortunately, let me pause this for a sec and add something. Ta-da! Okay, I added something really quickly here where I call the fill method. It's a little variation of the one in the slides. I'm going to pass the nums array, and I want the array to be filled with 99s. So down here is the fill method. I'm going to run the debug. It's going to end right on this line. I'm going to step into that method. So here I am. If I step through, I can see this received that nums. So here's that ARR. It's got 53709. And I'm going to step through and I'm going to see all these values change to 99. Now, what's important to remember is that, like I said, if I go back to where this was called here, here's that nums array, and I can see that nums array is changing as well. So that is unique to objects and arrays, is that methods can change them, whereas primitives we can't really change with a method unless we send a value back and assign it.